Hi everyone, welcome to our today's meeting, which is dedicated to a very important topic, which is called the horrific disaster at the Kachowka Dam, exploring the environmental, economic and social dimensions of the global catastrophe in Ukraine. So I am the moderator of today's meeting. My name is Hanna Skeban, and I am a leader of Green Team in Ukraine, of our eco community. So as you know, now the month of July is dedicated to eco-friendly initiatives, Plastic-Free July, all around the world, and in EPAM as well, we are joining. And while we were thinking about what topic we can bring for this event, we decided that we cannot avoid such important topic, which is the disaster at the Kachowka Dam. That's why we invited scientists, researchers, professors for today's meeting to explain to all of us what is happening now and what are the consequences of this terrible disaster. So to start, I pass the word to Sergei Lisovsky. Sergei is Deputy Director of the Institute of Geography, National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine, Doctor of Geographical Sciences, Professor, Vice President of the Ukrainian Geographical Society. So, Sergei, the word passes to you.
Thank you a lot. Hello, everybody, dear colleagues. As you just could hear, Daria Malchikova told a lot of socio-economical consequences of this catastrophe on Kachowska HPP. And I'm also will say about this catastrophe. The Kachowska HPP was a key element of a hydroelectric power plant complex, which provided not only and not so much electricity needs in the regions of southern Ukraine, but also irrigation of large agricultural lands in the area, primarily Kherson, Zaporizhia regions, and AR Crimea. The reservoir provided drinking and household water for the population needs, while also solving the issue of industrial water supply in the region. The Kachowska HPP and dam also performed important transportation and logistics functions, providing the waterway navigation between Kherson and Zaporizhia and rail and road connections between the banks of the Dnieper River. Thanks to the water of the Kachowska reservoir, the production of significant volumes of agricultural products was ensured in the Kherson and Zaporizhia region. But there was else one reason of construction this Kachowska HPP and the cascade of reservoir on the Dnieper. This cascade was considered by a Komi government as a possible barrier to the advance of North Atlantic Treaty Organization troops in the event of war. By blowing up the hydroelectric dams, it would be possible to create a continuous, impossible strip between the left and right bank Ukraine for months or more. It was such reason that Russian terrorists destroyed the dam on the Kachowska HPP in order to stop Ukrainian army in Kherson region. In particular, some words about the significance of Kachowski HPP hub. In particular, in 2021, the total volume of fresh water consumption in Kherson region was 703 million cubic meters, or 11.44% of the total in Ukraine. In preceding years, this number was even higher. The total water consumption of the gross regional product in the Kherson region was almost 6 times higher than Ukraine average. The main consumer of water is the region was agriculture. In 2018, there were 427.1 thousand hectares of irrigated land in the region, or 21.6% of the region total agricultural land area. including 384.5 thousand hectares from state irrigation system. The irrigated lands of the region were an insurance fund for the state production of agricultural products, especially in the extreme drought years. And this map, as you can see in this slide, shows concentration areas according to the contracted agreement localization. In this slide, you can see that Kherson region, especially part located near the Kakhov reservoir, was the point of concentration investment. And there were not only Ukrainian investors, and there were also foreign investors, and that's why this catastrophe is catastrophe of a global range. This map shows that territory of the left Dnieper river bank, south of the Kachowska reservoir, is characterized by the absence of a natural hydrologic network. As well, you can see on the next slide, no rivers, no floods. And the next problem of this region is that this region don't have big resources underground resources. The less level in Ukraine. The next problem after this catastrophe is that now exists risk of artificial earthquake, because there were 10 cubic kilometers of water, and now this water eliminate, and that's why there is risk of such technical or anthropogenic earthquake. In this slide, you can see that Ukraine has 1,248 cubic meter resources per capita every year. And if we compare with average level in the world, you can see that Ukraine has in five times less resources per capita than in the world. But our nearest country, Slovak Republic, Turkey, Poland, has more than Ukraine water resources. In Europe, only Moldova has less figures. And this figures is on the map on this slide. You can see index of water resources provision on the of the world population, and Ukraine has one of the worst position in the world as whole. But the south part of Ukraine has the lowest level than in Ukraine average, and such region, the Kherson region, Zaporizhzhia region, has the lowest level of water supply in Ukraine. And that's why the problem of water supply is this region so urgent. The next slide shows that ecological level condition in the south part of Ukraine were not quite good. And after this disaster, they will not became better. Once more, in structure of land resources in this region, the dominate agricultural land. The share of agricultural land the biggest in Zaporizhia, 82, in Mykolaiv 81%, Kherson almost 70%, but the share of forest is not more than 5%. And after the construction of the dam, the urban population of region increased significantly. And and it's the reason why so urgent problem of water supply, first of all, in the cities of region. And this slide shows that the population of some cities in the region almost doubled. For example, Kryvyi Rih, Zaporizhia. And in these cities, problem not only supplies for inhabitants, for population, but there are a lot of significant in state scale industrial plants here. And what will be with these industrial plants now? It's a great question. The Kakhovka disaster also led to disruption of transportation links along the Dnipro River, including the disruption of river transportation opportunities of Ukraine grain and other agricultural products export, and disruption of transportation and logistical chains in the latitudinal direction. Threats and risk of destruction of residential, industrial, and infrastructure objects in areas of flooding, including threats of destruction of critical infrastructure objects and potentially dangerous objects, are also a great danger. According to the risk passport of the Kherson region, there is a significant number of man-made hazards in the flood zone. Among them, chemical hazard facilities, as well as facilities containing toxic industrial waste and unusable toxic chemicals, pose a particular threat. The undermining of the Kachowska HPP dam by Russian terrorists also caused a serious threat to the historical and cultural potential of the region. We have identified 118 monuments of immobile cultural heritage that were destroyed, damaged, or are in danger of flooding due to the explosion of the Kachowska HPP dam. Among them are 14 monuments of national importance and 108 local ones. Of them by type, 46 monuments of architecture and urban planning, 49 of history, and etc., etc. And finally, it should be pointed out the large-scale threats to biodiversity and the stability and natural value of landscapes in the flooded territories. The threat of destruction within these territories or the objects of the nature reserve found. 9 objects of the nature reserve found of different nature protection status fell into the zone of influence of flooding. And the worst consequences of the Kachowska disaster today, we are no good option to overcome it. As my colleague just said, there were different variants of decision, but unfortunately, it seems to me, unfortunately, any decision will not good because, and that's in this the worst consequences of Kachowska disaster. Thank you a lot for your attention.